Hussein offers to pull out of Kuwait and offer with too many conditions.
That Iraqi statement that first gave rise to hope, in fact, turned out to be a cruel hoax.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Tonight, America at war.
Good evening on a Friday that began with what seemed to be the promise of peace and ends with the prospect of a ground war ever closer. Saddam Hussein's offer to withdraw from Kuwait had so much bombast and conditions it ran for 5 pages single-spaced. Among the conditions, an immediate ceasefire, Israeli withdrawal from the occupied territories, and Allied payments for repairs in Iraq. As NBC's John Cochran with the President and Kenny Bunkport reminds us tonight, the UN resolutions call for unconditional withdrawal. John, it was some day.
Sure was. Tom, for the President, as for the rest of us, Saddam's offer caused an emotional roller coaster, but it was a short ride. One of Bush's aides tells me that for about 45 minutes, the President thought peace might have broken out. By the time Bush stopped off in Massachusetts to visit the Patriot missile plant, he had seen a copy of what Saddam actually proposed, not what some people thought he proposed.
It's a cruel ploy. What he did was reiterate some conditions and add some new ones, and it's totally unacceptable to everybody. You know, my heart goes out to the people that in Iraq that you saw kind of jumping with joy early on, firing their weapons, which is, yes, they're a sign of joy in the air. And only to recognize when the fine print came out that it was a step backwards.
Bush was so encouraged by the initial response of Iraqis that he made a direct appeal to them.
And there's another way for the bloodshed to stop, and that is for the Iraqi military and the Iraqi people to take matters into their own hands and force Saddam Hussein, the dictator, to step aside.
Bush came to the Raytheon plant to praise the workers who make the Patriot, which has intercepted 41 of 42 Scud missiles launched by Saddam. A bargain for the American taxpayer, thinks Bush, who said Saddam's peace offer is no bargain.
And there was just some more conditions, including asking the American taxpayer to pay for damage in Iraq. It's the other way around. The reparations sanctions are called for under the United Nations. Reparations for Iraq undoes the damage that it's done to its neighbors.
So instead of talking peace, Bush was talking tough.
I am going to stay with it. We are going to prevail, and our soldiers are going to come home with their heads high.
Late today, a senior White House aide said Saddam's offer may signal that he is looking for an escape hatch. But, said the aide, Saddam is going about it the wrong way. Tom?
Thank you, John Cochran. There was momentary elation at the Pentagon as well, but the business of war never stopped. NBC's Fred Francis is at his post again tonight. Fred?
Tom, the Allied war machine did not blink. The final days and, by some accounts, the final hours of preparation for the ground war are upon us.
All across a 200-mile front facing Kuwait and Iraq, nearly 500,000 American and Allied troops are positioned to invade north. Warplanes flew 800 sorties today, described as preparing the battlefield to attack 500,000 Iraqis, who military officials say remain hunkered down.
I think we've got him between a rock and a hard spot. I think we're able to take care of him in a hunker-down position, and if he wants to move, that's even more to our advantage. So I think the results of late are bearing fruit, and hopefully that's figuring into the calculations with the Iraqi leadership.
Intelligence sources say intercepted communications reveal that Iraqi generals have told the Baghdad leadership that an Allied invasion could come at any time. Administration officials say that knowledge, that a ground offensive is near, may have led to Saddam's withdrawal offer. The sources say Saddam also knows that his frontline troops may not fight well. Other intercepted radio messages between tanks and command posts are urgent requests for food, water, and medical attention. But Pentagon leaders say, for the moment, it is still an effective fighting force.
I think the day will come in the relatively near future, and I won't define that, when they will begin to become an ineffective fighting force, but that hasn't occurred yet in all units. Some units are ineffective.
Other military men say that before these Allied forces attack, the Iraqi army can save itself by leaving its tanks and guns in place and simply heading back to Baghdad under a white flag. and Pentagon leaders have apparently convinced the president that any halt to bombing the battlefield to negotiate now would be folly.
I would recommend against a bombing pause because it could give them an opportunity to regenerate and could result in dead Americans in the future.
There is a feeling here at the Pentagon that there is no turning back, that we will be into a ground war by this time next week. Tom?
Thank you, Fred. For the American troops in Operation Desert Storm, the news out of Baghdad was no cause for celebration. As NBC's Mike Betcher tells us tonight, they kept their heads down and their guard up.
The war didn't stop a beat. The jets continued flying. The troops kept preparing.
To abide by the UN resolutions.
If they cheered when they first heard the news, it lasted for only a short moment. A soldier is naturally distrustful of his enemy. So it was this time.
After all the things we've heard from Saddam Hussein and all the things he's done, I don't think you could trust anything from that man.
Sounds like it's too good to be true, and we'll have to see, and we'll believe it when we see it.
Every soldier, whether a desert veteran or new arrival, felt he had good reason to doubt the sincerity of any peace offer from Iraq.
He made a lot of promises before. Act out on those, so I believe it when I see it. I think he just bluffed them. And well, I can see, until you move out all his troops, then he's talking about something, that he want to do something about clearing up the war and stuff. But until then, I said press on. Give them everything we got.
Today's empty hopes only reinforced what the troops had figured all along, that they would have to march north before they could march home.
The ground force is the only way that's going to get them out of Kuwait. That's the only way. I mean, sure, we're bombing them, and we're hurting them bad, but still, it's not going to pull them out.
Since August, hopes that this all might end without a bloody ground war have been lifted and dashed several times. Skepticism has become a soldier's best defense. Mike Betcher, NBC News, Eastern Saudi Arabia.
Well, Nightly News continues in a moment. The view from Baghdad and the Moscow role in all of this.
So in my interview, they told me how Dow can take all this coal and turn it into clean burning gas.
Wouldn't that cut down on acid rain?
You got it.
Sounds like one serious job, son. I just wish it wasn't so far away.
Gonna miss you, Mike.
Hey, take care of this for me.
You can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Son, show them what you got.
'Cause Dow lets you do great things.
Sure, I want my family to eat healthy. Doesn't everyone? But I can still cook foods we love. I just cook them smarter. And I trust Pam to help me do that.
Even healthy foods like chicken can be loaded with fat and calories cooked in butter, margarine, or oil. Look at all the fat and calories they add compared to Pam, the healthier choice.
That's why we're Pam people. When they eat healthy, I'm happy.
No stick Pam cooking spray. It's the healthier way to cook.
When the first sketchy reports of Saddam Hussein's withdrawal first were broadcast on Baghdad radio today, there was jubilation in the Iraqi capital over that offer. Jeremy Bowen of the BBC, reporting for NBC News, says, however, it quickly came to an end.
Premature celebrations started on the streets of Baghdad minutes after the broadcast announcing that for the first time, Iraq was prepared to consider withdrawal from Kuwait. Thousands of bullets were fired into the air. One of the gunmen said they were doing it because the war was over. They seemed to assume that Iraq's preconditions would be accepted by the Allies. They were a fair price to pay, this man said, and peace would follow.
Well, I hope so. Everybody hopes it will, yes.
For a few hours, people started to think beyond the next air raid. But the announcement on Baghdad radio restated preconditions which had been rejected many times before. And it's possible that Saddam Hussein didn't expect them to be accepted this time either. The broadcast said Iraq was responding to the initiative launched by Yevgeny Primakov, the Soviet envoy, who visited Baghdad this week. Iraq's Foreign Minister, Tariq Aziz, is due in Moscow at the weekend. His message may be that Iraq is showing flexibility and that Moscow should put pressure on Washington to do the same. Anti-American and anti-Western feeling is very strong here after the attack on the air raid shelter at Al-Miriya in western Baghdad. Mourners were there again this morning. Washington's rejection of Iraq's preconditions for a ceasefire and for withdrawal will enrage them even further. Despite the air raids which resumed here tonight, perhaps as a direct result of them, people were talking about a fight to the finish before the announcement temporarily raised their hopes. The men who've been going to date at Baghdad's mortuary to try to identify their families talked a great deal of that. The scenes there are appalling. The building is overflowing and corpses have been left in its yard. All the people at the mortuary can think about is their grief and revenge. Jeremy Bowen for NBC News, Baghdad.
Well, President Bush was dismissing Saddam's offer today, and the preparations for war continued. The diplomatic channels were working overtime. NBC's John Dancy tonight on the small, encouraging signs and the larger dilemma facing the United States now. John.
Tom, senior State Department officials believe Saddam Hussein is signaling he would like to negotiate, but there are so many conditions, it's not likely to happen.
What was new in the Baghdad statement was this. Saddam said he would comply with Resolution 660 of the UN Security Council. That's the one that calls on Iraq to withdraw from Kuwait. He referred to Kuwait as Kuwait, not as the 19th province of Iraq. Senior State Department officials think Saddam is trying to get a negotiation going, probing to see what he can get. If that was his aim, it was rejected, at least publicly.
Well, we're not in the market for deals.
Secretary of State Baker was on the telephone quickly, making sure that the offer of a deal was rebuffed by the Allies, and it was.
I think it is a sham, most certainly, yes. It really doesn't seem to be a serious attempt.
In Egypt, 8 Arab nations rejected the offer. Egyptian Foreign Minister Esmet Abdel-Magid saying, "We don't see the Iraqi proposal as serious." But at the United Nations, where the Security Council met behind closed doors today, Iraq's move was finding some favor.
It seems that there is an evolution in the position of Iraq, and we hope that we can go further than that.
The U.S. believes Saddam is trying to drive a wedge in the coalition. Certainly the Soviets today welcomed the news.
The positive news from Iraq has been received with satisfaction and hope in Moscow.
That's important because Iraqi Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz is due in Moscow Sunday. U.S. officials say Moscow still backs the coalition, but they do expect Gorbachev will ask Aziz whether there is negotiating room in Baghdad's statement of today. And the U.S. made it clear it would welcome anything that gets Iraq to comply with the UN resolutions.
So to sum up, Iraq has opened the door a bit today. It is not completely open, and it is conditional. The United States won't accept it, but it would like to know more. Tom?
Thanks, John. And there is very welcome news tonight about CBS correspondent Bob Simon and his 3-man crew. CBS has confirmed that they are alive and being held in Baghdad. Simon, Peter Bluff, Roberto Alvarez, and Juan Caldera disappeared 3 weeks ago while working near the Kuwaiti border. No word on when they may be released.
Get your little behinds in there.
All over the world, there's a ritual that takes place right before bedtime.
And don't forget to wash behind your ears.
And for over 35 years, one faucet has helped more kids get away with it.
And you two better be clean.
Or not. Delta, the way water is brought to life.
Ask me what counts most after 40 years in the car business, and I don't have to think twice. 1, the minivans. We invented them. 2, driver's airbags in every car we build in this country. What do we do for an encore? Put them together. Minivans with a driver's side airbag. Nobody else is doing it. You still have to use your seatbelt with a minivan airbag, but it will save lives. A lot of lives.
Did you know if you're not using the AT&T network, your company waits over 40% longer for long-distance calls to connect?
I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour when there's no one else around. I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour.
Without AT&T, in 1 year you may end up paying people thousands of dollars to wait.
I'm gonna wait till the
Faster connections, another AT&T advantage.
It's
It's Color Tile's President's Day sale. Store-wide savings up to 67%. DuPont Stainmaster Carpet, incredible. Only $10.99 installed. And mini blinds, buy one, get two free. Tremendous reductions on ceramic floor and wall tile. Entire stock Armstrong no-wax floors, wood flooring, and wall covering too. So hurry. Save up to 67% at Color Tile's President's Day sale. Sale ends Monday.
Joining me now from Washington is a key figure in the Persian Gulf situation, Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the United States, Prince Bandar bin Sultan. Mr. Ambassador, let me ask you, the fact that Saddam Hussein even made this offer, do you find any hope in that at all?
Good evening, Tom. No, I think it is a tragic, cruel attempt at playing with people's feelings, particularly in Iraq, as you've seen in the shots that we have seen in Baghdad. People were very happy. They thought there was something new. Saddam Hussein is playing the same old game. He thinks he's too cute. I think this initiative looks like a confirmation that he has a bunker mentality, and he's really not aware what's going on around him.
The Iraqi foreign minister goes to Moscow on Monday. What happens if Monday night Gorbachev emerges from the Kremlin with Tariq Aziz at his side and calls for an allied ceasefire, and Tariq Aziz says Iraq will then withdraw from Kuwait?
I am confident that President Gorbachev is solid on his insistence on implementation of the United Nations resolutions, and if he can get the Iraqis to accept and implement the UN resolution, the more power to him, and we would like that. In fact, Tom, King Fahd and President Bush, initially when they heard the news that Saddam Hussein was going to withdraw, they were very pleased. It was rather very disappointing to them when they saw the list of the conditions he put, not only the conditions that were rejected in the past, but he added preposterous conditions that shows you that the man is not realist, nor is he begging for peace.
Well, let me ask you about the Allies and their commitment to the UN resolution. The President today was encouraging the overthrow of Saddam Hussein. Do you think that Saddam Hussein should be removed physically or politically, and is that part of the UN mandate?
I think, Tom, if you were an Iraqi officer or soldier tonight and you saw this game he's playing, you will have a flashback to your experience in Iran and the war of 8 years, whereby he sold everything he gained in Iran overnight. And therefore, the Iraqi army in Kuwait today is saying to themselves, should we fight and die for this man, and he will sell us next week, or should we not fight? So there is legitimate questions for the Iraqi people and the Iraqi army.
What, Mr. Ambassador, what about you? What do you want? Do you want him removed physically and politically?
We want him to get out of Kuwait, and we intend to implement the United Nations resolutions in Kuwait. We prefer that he withdraw peacefully so we can save more blood and save lives. If he doesn't, we will get him out of there by force.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Tom.
We appreciate it. When we return in a moment, the financial markets take a ride on today's Gulf News.
Know where I am? I'm at one of the finest resorts in the world, and I love it because everything's right here. I can relax in the sun, eat marvelous food, enjoy a room with an ocean view. There's fabulous entertainment, friendly service, and it's all included in the price. But what makes this resort really fun is that it takes me to some of the world's other great vacation spots. Take a 3-, 4-, or 7-day fun ship vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Today, there's a diet pill that can help you lose weight without caffeine to make you nervous.
All my life I've been struggling with my weight. With Dexatrim, I finally lost weight, and without being hungry.
No matter what else you've tried, Dexatrim can help you lose weight. Just one works all day, morning through bedtime, to control your appetite and help you lose weight.
Dexatrim did it for me. I lost weight and feel great.
Today's caffeine-free Dexatrim. Nothing works harder to help you lose weight. Nothing.
When creating the new G20 midsize luxury sedan from Infiniti, These were just a few of the amenities we kept in mind. Seating surfaces that are fitted with leather. A cabin that heightens the level of comfort and stretches the limits of space. Of course, with 16 valves and 140 horsepower, that mind also has an alter ego.
Ziploc presents Fingerman.
Hi, I'm here to demonstrate an amazing achievement. Introducing the new Gripper Zipper from Ziploc. Now the easiest closing bag there is. In fact, I can even close it with my hands tied behind my back. Yes, the zipper is grabbing hold. It's locking. Feel it close the first time, every time. Ziploc bags with the new Gripper Zipper. The easiest closing bag there is.
Very good, Fingerman.
You gonna tie me now? Hey, where are you going?
The hope early today that the war may be ending and the disappointment later on kept world financial markets jumping all day long. With every development, a new reaction. NBC Chief Financial Correspondent Mike Jensen tonight on this bumpy ride for investors today.
6:34 a.m. Broadcast reports hit the securities markets like a Scud missile, first in Europe. An urgent bulletin from the Associated Press. Iraq has agreed to withdraw from Kuwait. Within minutes, crude oil prices plunged more than $2 a barrel. Gold prices down $5 an ounce. The dollar went shooting up. So did stock prices.
And there was a surge throughout Europe. In particular, we saw Germany and France rising very strongly.
Analysts said American stocks would be up 70 points at the opening. Then came the details of Iraq's peace offer. All kinds of conditions, unrealistic. The markets turned on a dime. In New York, traders watched as European oil and gold prices recovered. The dollar came down. European stock prices fell. By 9:25 this morning, just before the opening of the New York Stock Exchange, brokers had become very skeptical about the war ending. At the opening on Wall Street, stock prices barely moved. A few blocks away, oil prices held their ground. American traders kept one eye on the ticker and one eye on the TV. When President Bush called the Iraqi announcement a cruel hoax, the Dow lost more than half its modest gains. By mid-morning, boredom had set in. Then in the afternoon, the markets turned again. Oil closed down $1.44. The Dow was up 57 points, mainly for technical reasons, not peace hopes. Traders said the day had been like a drill, a dry run that began and ended in Europe.
If there is a true withdrawal without conditions, this sort of rally could take place again. Only it would be followed through with a rally in the United States and in Japan.
That's the rally everyone's waiting for, the one that would help restore consumer confidence and bring on a quick recovery from the recession. Mike Jensen, NBC News, New York.
So on Wall Street this week, the Dow Industrial Average gained almost 104 points in very heavy trading, closing at its highest level since July 20th.
The Financial Report has been brought to you by Merrill Lynch. We're bullish on the future.
When your child reaches college, the cost of a degree could exceed $110,000. And sooner or later, the truth dawns on you. You probably can't count on an athletic scholarship, not even a partial one. At Merrill Lynch, we can give you some coaching, ways you can improve your financial batting average. We call it College Builder. You'll call it a home run. Merrill Lynch, we're bullish on your financial future.
Red Lobster introduces something new, something delicious. It's our specially priced new Shrimp Sensations dinner, just $7.99. With the tang of succulent new shrimp Veracruz and the flair of zesty new Parmesan fried shrimp, together with popcorn shrimp. All this just $7.99 for a limited time, but only at Red Lobster. So hurry.
Red Lobster for the seafood lovers.
Over 10 years ago in restaurants across America, one instant coffee did something no other instant has ever done.
If this is instant, we just bought ourselves another coffee.
We've never had instant coffee this good.
People who thought they were drinking fresh brewed coffee were secretly switched to Folgers Crystals. Real people, not actors.
I mean, it just tastes like it's been brewed. This would wake me up.
Try it yourself. Write to this address and get a free jar of Folgers Crystals, the only instant that dares to make believers out of fresh brewed coffee drinkers.
I'll drink to that.
What a feeling, feeling fresh.
Introducing Fix-It Fresh with a crisp, clean feeling and a stronger hold than any other cream adhesive. A fresh new feeling and stronger hold are two new reasons to fix it and forget it.
For more than 60 years, we've been everybody's favorite chair.
Oh, good boy.
Tonight on Friday Follow-Up, pardon the personal note, but growing up in the Great Plains, Life magazine was my window on the world. Every week it brought to my remote corner of life, life on a grander stage. And now it's back, weekly. NBC's Lucky Severson.
This is good because there's that subliminal connection of the people.
It's been 18 years since Life was a weekly part of our lives. For 40 years before that, week in and week out, we had a better understanding of who we were because we could see ourselves, frozen in black and white, and sometimes color. The most memorable pictures were usually of ordinary people, but not always. The most unforgettable, almost always, were images of war and its victims, like this anguished woman in a bombed-out village in China.
Everything in the village has been destroyed. Everybody has fled.
Probably no photojournalist alive has carried a camera to more wars than Karl Maidan's.
Very well. And she is muttering, gone. Everything is gone.
We see the pictures of destruction in the Gulf continuously, moving pictures. But do they move us?
A still picture lets you stop and look at the thing and own it and hold it and come back to it and wander around in it.
Jim Gaines is the managing editor of a new old weekly magazine that will debut Monday morning, only at newsstands, to be titled Life in Time of War. If war can bring good news, the new weekly is off to a good start. Reporter Ed Barnes and photographer Tony O'Brien, along with the London camera crew, captured a real-life exclusive.
They were on the side of the road and said Iraqis, and they said Iraqis. And then we stood and stared at each other for a while.
We all realized, my God, they're Iraqis and they're surrendering. And they're surrendering to us.
The journalists were so stunned, they forgot to disarm their captives. They almost forgot to take pictures.
After they were in the Jeep and we had a time to take a deep breath and realize what was going on, we realized we had no pictures. And we just yelled, get out! And sort of bewildered, they got out and stood on the side of the road, had their picture taken, and surrendered again.
A moving picture might not stop long enough to show the surrender leaflet or the soldier's hands holding it.
His hands were kind of incredible. I mean, they were sort of farmer's hands and just kind of dirty and whatnot. These are people. I think that's probably what I would like to convey more than anything.
The picture showing how afraid and how much alike we all are will appear in the first edition. The people at Life say they hope there won't be the need for a second. Lucky Severson, NBC News, New York.
That's Nightly News up to the minute. I'm Tom Brokaw. We will have continuing coverage of America at war around the clock on this NBC station.